of Public Works meeting being held at the Plain Street office. Tonight, we, the first meeting after our election, town election, which, I'm very thankful. Someone did blank my ballot, and I'm back for another 3 years. So I really appreciate it.
That was a close vote.
Yeah, I think so. So tonight is Monday, May 12th, 2025. We're at the DPW Media Room, 965 Plain Street. You know where we are, but people at home probably don't. Today we have an appointment with, dealing with roads. We have 3 action items, 4 discussion items, and then we're going to vote on the last minutes, superintendent's report, and our next meeting will be TBA, to be determined. I would like to move the first action item, reorganization of Board of Public Works positions after the town election. Normally, for those people at home, we rotate chairs at the Board of Public Works. The person who just got reelected gets demoted all the way down to clerk, and the person who is up for reelection gets promoted up the line from vice chair to chair. With that, I would like to put in nomination Diane's name to be the chair of the Board of Public Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to put John Kuzak's name in for the vice chair of the Board of Public Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to put my own name, Robert Shaughnessy, as clerk for the Board of Public Works.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, with that, I'm going to turn the gavel over to our new chairperson.
Thank
All
you.
yours.
Madam Chair.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we got applause too. All right, so we have an appointment with Steve Pontos, and then our action items tonight are going to be reorganization, which we just did, vote on road acceptance policy, vote on poll hearings from the last meeting at 1140 Ocean Street and 1143 Ocean Street and 280 Foster Ave. We have discussion items on town meeting articles, the CPC, rehabilitation of the ball field drainage, playgrounds, inshore public involvement with the design, meeting dates schedule, and then playground plans, Tower Ave committee. So, and then we'll vote on the minutes and hear from Sean.
I'll second the.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, so, Steve?
Yep.
You're our appointment.
So, I'm here to talk about, you guys get $70,000 a year, you always have to go before the other board to get it. And, for the unpaved roads. And you guys get, the assessed value of all the paved roads 4 years ago was just over $57 million. I mean, you collect $750,000 taxes, and the $70,000 is for, you get for maintaining the roads, is only 9% of that. And you're lucky to get it done twice for that. So I'm proposing to try to get double that, 18%, which is $140,000, to at least do it 4 times. Which it really needs to be done more than 4 times, but for what we pay in taxes, we pay the same amount because some of those are paid paper. So I think that's not beyond that.
Couple of points I wanted to add to.
Sorry, name and address.
Dave Carey, 30 Rutland Road. As you remember, I know about the board and also some others, back in 2020, when we were being refused the $70,000 when I was on the board, I brought it up at the meeting that you have to do the vote, and I also pointed out that basically at that point in time, the statistics that Steve has just read were done in 2020. That value is no longer correct. The percentage is less than the 9% because, of course, the assessed values of the properties have been going up over the last 4 years, as has, we've been getting the 2.5% tax basically showed it, and that is only a partial list of the unpaved roads that I did back in 2020, okay? I have a complete list, I believe, but I want to re-verify it. But the bottom line would be, if what I have here is correct, the current $70,000 represents 1.9% of the tax dollars being received from these properties. I will be, actually, just had something taken off my schedule for tomorrow. In the morning, I'm gonna be riding around and double checking some of the streets that I had some questions about whether or not I had gotten the number of unpaved roads on them accurate, because there are some areas where we have partially paved roads that also have unpaved roads. And when you reflect on the tax dollars they're paying and things like that, you know, it is fair to basically treat them fairly. I recognize that the ultimate decision on this rests with the budgeting process and the select board, but I believe that, you know, we have enough change right now that they will be more receptive, and I believe that this board should consider, you know, establishing that the funding would be X% of the tax dollars being received from the unpaved roadways. That way, your dollars will rise when inflation is rising, you know, to match what the costs are. And of course, if the fund is not used, as has always been the case, because let's say you have a very dry year where the roads don't need the grading that much, it just rolls back into the capital budget that was mentioned for it and set up for it anyway, as it always has been for as long as I have been associated with the Town Department of Public Works, and that goes back to May of 2005. We had years where, Bob can attest to this, the $35,000 we actually had budgeted didn't end up getting used. And part of that was due because the gentleman who built Uncle Bud's skate park also used to grade most of the silver lines back then. And that was part of the reason the funding wasn't used up as much as it might have been. And just as a consideration that I think this board should take under thought.
Madam Chairman, I have a couple questions.
Yeah, I do too. Are you done, Steve? Because you were the appointment.
Yeah.
So you said what you needed to say?
Some years, they didn't even deliver the mail all winter because the roads were
I
so
know,
bad. I know they can't
mentioned
do
that
anything in the
before.
winter about it, but sometimes the roads are so bad. If you were in an ambulance and they didn't tie you in, you were falling out of the grave. It gets bad. It's not fair.
I have a question for you, Sean. How often do you not use that full 70,000?
So, I'm gonna back up a little bit, and, I started here in 2014, and 3 years prior to that, the road reconstruction money and the gravel road money was not funded. We went and asked, I live in a private road too, so I think it's very personal, and I do agree with you that we all pay taxes and we should get the same benefits that everybody else does. So I do take this to heart, and I went and fought for it, and I got, like Dave said, $35,000 one year. Let's put it this way, I went for a lot more. Like you said, Steve, I went double. And it got shot down. I was lucky to get $35,000. I got up to 70. It's been a constant battle each year to get the funding. Like the road reconstruction money, I use that for a lot of projects that fall outside of Chapter 90 because we can't touch the Chapter 90 money. And we have so much work to do with Chapter 90 money now as it is, and it just isn't enough to go around. I got up to $200,000. We went to 5. We got 2. And Dave's not wrong by saying that it falls on the ears of the select board and the town administrator how much money you get. I will say in the years past, that Mike's been very good. He gave me the 200 we needed, and we went with that. We tried to make do what we have. I'm not against your proposal at all. I'm in favor of it. I just don't know, and it doesn't hurt to ask. I just know we're up against some rough years coming up,
I understand.
and I don't want to lose what I have, but I promise you this, I will try and tweak it, because the cost of fuel, the cost of our contractors to do the work is skyrocketed. The cost of behind schedule right now with the roads. And if I could get the extra money, I could probably put Wayne on full-time, you know, doing 4 times. Don't forget, we have to do all the ground.
No, I understand that.
And, but
I'm
I
not
said,
speaking for everybody.
huh?
I'm trying to speak for everybody.
I know, and I thought over the weekend when I heard this was coming up, I said, well, I know, the roads are brutal, and we have to send our own machine out, just to try and get them so we can drive on them. And, I think it's something we can look into, increasing the money.
I think, I mean, I definitely understand your idea, and I agree with Sean. My concern is that they'll take the money from another part of the budget, you know what I mean?
That is all
Because,
for public works.
because,
Yeah.
there is so many things where the budget is, as everybody knows, probably, the budget is kind of pretty messed up townwide. So that's why we're going back to town meeting in
Well,
June.
before you say anything, I want to say something else. We got a new budget, July of 2024, so we have FY '25. 2 weeks later, they cut 10% across the board out of everything. So that kind of screwed us for the year. And now there's a spending freeze. So I want you to know where I'm coming from, because I do feel your pain, and I do agree with you. I don't want to lose what we already have.
I'm not saying nobody understands it. And I know, because I've been trying this for years, and it's always somebody pointing the fingers at the other ones, and I know who does the pointing. And it's just not, technically, I think it should be in the budget without having to ask. But I know you
It
just have to ask
can't
for
be,
it
that's
here.
actually a bylaw. It has to be in, it has to be voted on at town meeting.
Because you're using public funds to do private roads.
Right, because they're private and we're only, legally, we can only make them safe to travel for emergency vehicles, and we can only use material that the road is made out of to begin with. We can't use, like, we can't upgrade it. So, and that's a law, like, we can't break that law. Just a minute, please.
Okay.
And, so it has to go before town meeting.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
But the advisory board keeps saying no.
So, I live on a road like that, and I can't ride my bike up my road. I have to walk my bike to the top of the road to ride it, otherwise I'd fall off it. So, we'll have a better, I think, relationship with the select board now. And we definitely will try to, we'll definitely ask, you know, and I just don't know where, like, that money's gonna come from, but
I had a couple questions.
we'll get to you.
If I could just, the one thing I wanted to point out is, the reason
Dave,
Other people-
excuse me.
The reason I'm here is because Steve came to me at the end of the town meeting with a question and conversation, that's why I'm here. And I did talk to Bob on the way out at the town meeting.
I know, I haven't spoken.
Okay.
I did talk to
Bob,
So I have a series of questions. I want to get the statistics of the issue. So, there are, how many unpaved roads out there in Marshfield? I'm looking for the magnitude and the statistics.
The total is pretty significant.
So the number of roads and the miles of road, of unpaved roads.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw the questions out. What are the number of residents, what are the value of, from a dollar value from all the houses, and how much does each taxpayer pay, that live on those roads? And then how much of the $70,000 goes out of it, is being paid for out of their tax base? So is it like 5 cents out of someone that's paying $5,000 is fixing the roads? I mean, look at it from the standpoint of, how much of my tax bill I'm paying is actually fixing the road? You're gonna find, and this is the conversation I had with Dave, is that, you know, someone's paying $6,000 in property taxes, they're probably getting 50 cents worth of services on unpaid roads. So look at it from the standpoint of the statistics of how much I
excuse me,
pay.
I can't,
How
I'm
much
trying to hear
am I
you.
paying, how much am I paying in versus how much am I getting back? And I agree, that's what we need to really say to the select board and the advisory board. These people are paying X number of dollars and they're getting nothing for return. So that's my position.
I have a question for, you, I guess Steve.
I can give you an
Dave.
example to answer the question.
Dave,
about
I'm
this
sorry,
with
you, Steve is the appointment,
Yes, he is.
okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
I'm only trying to help.
so, I understand. When it gets, filled, like, how long is it good for generally?
I'm serious.
I'm just wondering with your road.
Generally, realistically, you could take a before and after it rains, it looks exactly the same.
Yes.
Are they using gravel or they're using that
It's affected-
combination stuff?
It's affected by tidal water, and tidal water makes it
So,
so bad.
I'm sorry, you can't speak without being, recognized. Did you have anything else?
No, I just think that, if we're going to go fight for unpaved roads, which has been really a unfunded obligation of the town for years, we need to have good statistics and basically, letting taxpayers get something for what they're paying in.
I guarantee, oh, I'm sorry, you wanna go first?
Well, a suggestion is, we could, ask for the monies double it or triple it from free cash.
That's what we usually do.
Yeah. So, if we have the support at town meeting, you can do anything you want, if you have the support. You can bring these residents that need this on the unpaved roads. You can just take it from free cash.
I guarantee you that if it went to the town meeting floor, it would flop.
Yeah, I mean.
It's getting it there.
Well, I had mentioned to you, Steve, a couple of years ago, when you came to a meeting, when we were at the library, to make a citizen's petition for town meeting, and to get the support, like, of your neighborhood and stuff.
That's what we need.
That's the way, that's what would do it, I think, to double the money, to be able to,
I mean, I don't know if this answers his question, but the assessed value on these dirt road houses in 2020 was 57, just over, almost $58 million.
Okay.
And you're collecting $750,000 in taxes. And that $70,000 was 9%. And that was back then. Now it's less than 9%, so,
9% of what?
of the tax money collected to do the road. So,
So if someone's paying $100, they're getting $9 back. And votes.
yeah, I don't know exactly.
No, that's 9%.
Would you
I would think there would be less than that.
would you be willing to do a citizen's petition?
Yeah, I don't really like this kind of stuff, as you can tell.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
someone else.
well, maybe somebody else
I
would
just think that,
be, if you, yeah. I will,
I'll tell you
I'm
what,
gonna get to him.
let's just, let's try and go for a higher amount of ball, because the budget's already done for the, coming up in July. By then, we should have new administration, and it doesn't hurt to try,
Okay.
so we're trying to go for a higher amount and see where it goes. It would definitely help. It did.
Dave, please. I can't hear two people at the same time.
Wait a minute.
I can't even,
I will.
I'm trying to think at the same time, but
Mhm.
I'm sharp. So, I think we can take your appeal to, I'll try to go for 140.
Sir, you have your hand up, name and address, please.
Sean Tip, 41 Water Street, I'm at the very end. You made a couple of good points. First of all, when I responded with the tidal waters, as when you asked a question, what affects the road, or what affects somebody said rain, and also the tides come in, obviously, and that causes the roads to go out. It usually lasts a month and a half, and then it starts getting bad. It's been a year now. The road is worse than I've ever seen it. But the point I want to make is I'm a first responder. I've been a Boston firefighter for 24 years, and minutes are life and death. Everybody in our neighborhood's over 50 years old, and going from one end of the neighborhood to the other takes at least 15 minutes, and that's going at a generous pace. If you're going slow, it hurts. Like, I know people that brought their wives in and or you know, I'm sorry, somebody that had just had surgery and just beat the holy crap out of them. The road is so bad, there's no good way to put it. It's the worst I've ever seen it. If an ambulance has to get in there, or a fire truck has to get in there, it's gonna be 15 minutes, it's gonna be 10, 15 minutes, and the truck itself, and you know, the thing is, I watch these UPS, I watch the Amazon, they come flying in, so surprised that none of these people flipped over, to be honest with you, it's just insane. I
Sorry,
mean,
what road did you say?
go Bluefish Cove, that whole loop, and it's just absolutely atrocious, and I implore any one of you to try driving in there just to see how bad
I
it is.
know, I walked in there.
Yeah.
So, but that's a private road, right?
Public access.
Yeah, that's another problem. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I'm also on Cove Street in the same neighborhood, and I wanted to
Name and
ask,
address, please.
oh, at 14 Cove Street. And I
Name
just
and
wanted,
address, please.
Janine.
oh, Lisa O'Neill, sorry.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask some questions about the scope of work, because it seems to me, you know, like, additional gravel gets added, and there's a dozer in there doing the work, but to me, that's not true grading. Grading is scraping up that road. It seems like we're filling that road. I have some pictures that show even the, you know, our fire hydrant is completely buried. I mean, I don't even know how you could get to that on Cove Street, where we are. It's really bad. It's just additional fill and additional fill. And I honestly have not seen a grader in that. I'm not always there, but I've not seen a grader, and I just don't know. Is a grader ever used? Can somebody answer that question?
So it's a private road, completely private road. So
Yeah.
it's not public use. So we're very, very limited.
No.
Sean, we're not actually even, I don't think, supposed to do anything,
No.
right?
It's on the borderline.
It's,
Like that gentleman said over there, being first responder, we gotta make it passable for the rescue,
mhm.
the fire trucks and so forth. But we are limited in what we can do. Now, we've tried different techniques down there, and we got reported to DEP saying we're using the wrong material, which we weren't. It's the same material all the time. It's not tar-based. So again, we're very limited in what we can do. The grader, at least with the dozer, you back drag and get around the hydrants at the corners. The grader just goes forward, back and forth, and that's where you get your windrows from. So that's one of the reasons why I selected the dozer. A, it was cheaper to try and get more work done on these roads. And B, the grader, it was hard to find anybody with a grader that was gonna charge an arm and a leg to get in there to do it. And most of them were busy. So it's a catch-22. So I go with the best technique that's gonna work for all of us and get the best bang for the dollar.
I just think in our neighborhood, it seems like, you know, you can fill a hole and it rains and a week later it's.
Well, you also get the tidal wash too.
Yeah, up where I live, it's not tidal wash, but it's still, a lot of the neighborhood is. But no, we appreciate everything that the town does, and we understand it's private roads, but it is, you know, like he mentioned on Water Street, it just seems like it's getting worse and worse and worse. It almost needs to be dug deeper. It's not like it needs more fill. That's my only suggestion, and I'm not a DPW person by any
Believe it or not,
means.
we don't bring much material in there. We just grade what we have.
Okay.
But again, in your neighborhood, which is a very touchy situation, that gentleman over there, first responder, he's right. We do have to maintain so we get the public safety vehicles in there. So I wanna rock the boat with that, so we do go in there. We've gone in there more often than other places because it does get horrible down there. We're just in a whole different ballgame recently with issues financially and issues with how the rules and regulations and laws have changed. So we're already started with one hand behind our back and the other's getting tied up. So we're trying to figure out different ways of getting things done. And if anybody knows me, I'm the type of person that wants to get things done. Like in 2014, that was one of the #1 capital items I fought for, was road reconstruction and road grading money, because we couldn't get our own vehicles down there. And again, I live in a private road, so I know how you feel. But don't for 1 minute think that we're not trying to do the right thing, but we are. Just be patient, we're gonna try and get there as soon as we can to get everything done.
I think legally you could dig it up and you can't do that. That's totally illegal. We would not be able Yeah.
suggesting scraping the holes
Okay. Yeah.
instead of adding fill, only because, like I said, I can show you pictures of.
You don't need to, I walk up there, I know.
And I mean, I can show you like pictures of my friends that are almost R-rated, that have
Yeah.
fallen on the street and chipped
Oh.
tooths and broken
I
noses.
am-
There's more than one. So, you know, we understand it, it's a difficult situation because of the difficult area that it is, but it's so bad. And it's just been getting worse year
I
after
know,
year.
it is bad.
I think that's the most
I
important.
wish there was a good answer to this, but there just isn't.
We need to look at it from a public safety, like you said, because the fact that, you know, people are gonna die, and that's the problem, is I try to tell people that, like, the Amazon trucks and the UPS or whatever, they're a lot of times they're young kids, and they don't have the same forethought, so they come flying in there at 1,000 miles per hour. One of them will flip over, somebody will end up getting hurt really badly, or, you know, whatever, will pass away, and the thing is, you know, then there'll be repercussions. That's when I see it all the time. I see that's when things actually get fixed. But what I'd like to see is something happen before that happens, before somebody's hurt really badly.
I was in your shoes for 22 years, I was on the job, so I know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Thank you.
John?
What I think, is a citizen's petition. Because town meeting can do anything you want. If you have enough people who come to town meeting, have a citizen petition, put any amount on it, come, take it from the gas. You can go whatever amount, and if you have the support of town meeting, does anybody have the ability with the citizen petition? I'll help you.
But aren't they non-binding?
No,
She had one, and it was non-binding, they
No.
completely ignored it.
This is a different ballgame.
no, it's not non-binding.
I think John is right.
I've
So,
said it before.
because this would be a budget item, and mine was, completely the select board.
This is zoning, right?
Yeah, mine was for the DSA, because the select board's in charge of the DSA, so, but this would be creating a budget line.
John's right,
Yeah.
because if you do go into the town meeting floor, it'll fly.
You just need this, I'll help you.
Yeah, just say you go, so.
And I had told them that
Yeah,
the town meeting and a citizen's petition is the way to go,
Yeah.
and if necessary.
We talked about that before, yeah.
One for election as well.
right, we need the support, you have to, you know, get your emails together, or contacts together, form a group,
Mhm. Yep,
and,
what we talked about.
and Dave will help you, I will help you.
What they're gonna tell you, Steve, is that there's only so much money in free cash for everybody to split, and somebody else will go without. But there is a time and place where you gotta list your priorities in town.
This is the priority, this is big time. And the citizen petition with the support,
No, you're right.
yeah. Just add whatever monies you need.
I don't,
It can be lowered at town meetings, someone can make an amendment if he feels it's too high. Say you went for 300,000, someone said, well, that's too much, I don't want to make an amendment. Town would vote on that. If they vote, it's okay for the example 300, then it passes, comes from free cash, you got your money, you got the money. Town meeting votes. The only way we can work on private roads is the town meeting votes for it. That's the only way we can, but they vote 300,000, 200,000. He's got
Very good.
permission, you got permission from town meeting. They're the one who set the rules in the end. I've always said that, if people came in a group and were really cohesive and stayed together, you can run town meeting.
Sure can.
I have a
You
question
can-
about
you can.
this when you're done.
Yeah, you can run town meeting, you know, if you have, at times if you have 20 people, because citizens petition comes up last. You always make that last. So if you all stay,
Right.
because everybody leaves, you can control town meeting.
Game played in every town.
I've done it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to help. Sorry, Madam Chair.
No, thank you, John. So, would that be able to, that can't apply to private roads? then?
Yes.
Cause, can it? Because we
Yeah.
can't,
So my way of getting around that is always because emergency situations, you can never, ever, it comes down to snow plowing too. Some people have signs up that you can't it's a private, not open to the public. If there's an emergency, or even trying to get, before an emergency happens, we can go do it.
The town meeting votes to allow us to work on private
To
roads.
spend the money.
Right, we have $70,000.
Yeah.
I'm saying 300,000, just for a figure to throw
So,
out.
like you said,
Town meeting votes,
we put as a private petition, and the town meeting votes to approve that $300,000 to go to the private roads, it's a done deal.
done deal.
So you need to get, all the people in town that live on private and private public use roads to support your petition at town meeting. And if you don't feel comfortable delivering it, then you pick one of your neighbors or friends or somebody else, like, we talked about this before, I said, get a group of people. That's the way it can be done, because if we're gonna try, and Sean's has budget meetings, and he's gonna, bring it up and everything, but there's a good chance if they add to this fund, they're taking it away from another one in this department, a very good chance.
Well,
So your best bet is to go to town meeting for it. Yes, John?
Okay. This is what I would do if I'm on a private road, but it's paved. The roads, and I know I've been in the town as long as most of you people have been too. I would find out all the roads that are unpaved, and then in your group, have an individual walk that road, maybe 2 people, with a paper, tell them what's happening, would you sign this? You have to come to town meeting, or get their email address, get the whole group together, have people walk all these roads, and talk to the other people that are on unpaved roads. You could run town meeting, you could. I've said it before, with a group they're scared stiff of a group that's together, believe me. Believe me. They know you can control town meeting, they don't tell you that, but a group that's together, they're shaking in their boots because you run town meeting. So that's my suggestion.
Does anybody else have a question?
This is the
You,
point
sir,
of John.
in the back?
Brian McIsaac, Colorado. I had a question regarding the, I just went blank, I'm sorry. Give me a second. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to me.
No worries.
Thoughts in my head
Yes,
to express it.
it's okay, we'll get back to you when you're ready.
Joanne Minner at 144 Texas.
Hi.
Last week, that road was done, and the next day, it was as bad as the day before. Last year, it was done by Wayne and the grader. That thing lasted about 7 months.
So we did that road temporarily, because we don't have the material yet, and we're waiting for Wayne to get back from Rhode Island.
Okay, so it is going to...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I came in, the crew was there, and then the next day, we're like, what the heck
We had
happened?
to, I told the operations director to send somebody down here and fill the holes in until we get the material lined up, and, which I think we're gonna get across the street from Playwood Road. And, Wayne had to finish a project he's on, and as soon as he gets back here, I'm gonna say probably next week, we're gonna start on all of them. That's
He
been
did a
delay.
beautiful
Oh,
job.
he does a fantastic
Beautiful job. That road has
He's-
never lasted that long as when he did.
That's what I mean, he is phenomenal,
Yeah,
and he takes his time, and he does it right, and he cares.
yeah. Okay, it shows.
Yeah. So that's gonna happen. We
Okay.
just did that temporarily.
All right, thank you.
Anybody who lives in Kent Park or anywhere else, and you
Yeah.
see inch and a half stone in the potholes, it's temporary.
Great.
Okay, Mr. McIsaac?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot what
Okay.
I was gonna say. So I was thinking, do we need to ask Phil for a permit to walk around and get signatures for a petition like that?
No.
I was
No.
told
No.
that you don't need a badge or anything, 'cause I know there's other people walking and
I'll give you
knocking on
a
doors at weird hours. Is
No,
there like a time, you know?
no, but you have to get this petition made first.
Okay.
So,
What's the
before you
process
can
look like
go
for
around and
that?
have people sign it. There's a form that you get from the clerk's office,
Yeah, it's pretty
write
easy.
your petition, goes on the form, and then you get your signatures
Okay.
and talk to, your people. So there's a little bit of, work to do before you get the signatures. Did somebody else have a question? Yes.
Okay.
Susan Joubert, 29 Water Street. I've been been in Bluefish Cove for about 70 years, and I was there when the grading machine was coming in regularly and doing the job, and it lasted much longer. I have a question about what the material is that's being put on the roads. We're finding pieces of strange materials and metals and things like that, so I just wondered how that material is chosen.
It's chosen, it's leftover material from different jobs. There's some asphalt mixed in, there's some concrete mixed in, some brick and some gravel. It's all run through a crusher, and that's how we make it. There is no metal in there because the metal would destroy the machine. It could be, the metal you find, it could be left over from a prior job we did in the sewer, when we replaced all the mains out there. Again, the grader, it's just, we can't afford it right now. And for what I was getting for money, Wayne fit the bill because he got all the roads done twice a year.
Would it be possible, my understanding is that there are 100 of these roads in the town of Marshfield. Would it be possible to maybe get the information from Mr. Carrier, a listing of what those roads are, and maybe some of us could go get together and put together a spreadsheet of addresses and information, unless that's already been done, of people to contact.
Right, so I think that's what we were just talking to Steve about, if he plans to go forward with a citizen's petition, to, get a list and go around those roads and talk to people, get their signatures, and get support for the article.
And
town meeting in the fall.
we do understand, it is going to rain and it is going to flood. And we're against nature and we're not against people, and we do appreciate every single time that road is put in order, and our vehicles do as well. So we thank you for that.
Oh, thank him. Okay, Steve,
How many signatures?
so
I know the answer.
there's a process, but if you're gonna go on, you can either do 50 or 100, it depends on which town meeting, if you wanna be on the special or the annual. But John's gonna help you with that, or Dave will help you, Dave knows. Yeah, it's not a lot, but you wanna talk to the people on the roads, more than just the signatures, you know what I mean? Because you need the support.
Yes.
Okay, sir, one more, question, and then
Last
we're gonna move
question,
on to the next
My,
thing.
one of the people that just moved into our neighborhood, he is a former roadman from, I think, we're down south, anyway, he said, well, you know what we need to do is we need to come up with a plan to fix this road by digging up the dirt, putting something down, he had a full plan. I said, well, you know what, I tell you what, write up a plan, and I will take that to the town and present it. When would be the time, if somebody did something like that, when would be the time for me to present something like that? Just forget that down, like you said, wait till the end?
You would bring it to Sean, but I think that digging up that road would be a tough sell with the DEP. I don't think that would not fly. They wouldn't allow it, and conservation wouldn't allow it.
No kidding, no.
It's Bob. You don't have to.
I live on a private road, and, private roads are exactly what private roads are.
Absolutely.
It's owned by the abutters. There's nothing that says that the abutters can't get together, get some good crusher run, as a neighborhood group, and fund something. The law does not prohibit private road owners to fix their own road. What we're talking about is making sure that these roads are safe for emergency vehicles. And we can't go any more than that. If you wanted to come in and do a hard pack, crusher run type of thing, and add material to it, and you want help from the DPW to figure out what's the best way to do it. And most of the times, the private roads that are not unpaved is because of the crown in the middle of the road. Water needs to shed. The water doesn't shed, it ponds. And then when it ponds, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So my point is, if you really wanted to improve the road, and this problem right here is Water Street, there's a most of the roads that here that are notoriously bad is because, one, they're down by the beach where the drainage is lousy, or two, the material is lousy. But the town, the town cannot actually improve the road other than grading it to the point of an emergency vehicle there. But the butters can improve it themselves. But the town is also willing to work with you. So you're not alone. We have engineers that could assist any organization from a neighborhood standpoint, if you wanted to improve it. But by law, we can't improve it. We only can make it passable for emergency vehicles.
I think that DPW would be happy to help you improve, you know, your roads, but the whole neighborhood would have to pay for it, and then you're dealing with conservation and the DEP too. But,
Not if you have a right.
I mean,
Petition is the way to go.
in terms of guidance, you know,
So-
like, but,
One of the biggest problems that these folks have, and especially down in Kent Park, and Bluefish Cove, is there's no place to drain the water, like you
Right.
said.
It's a low spot.
In Kent Park, if I was to pitch the road, it would go in somebody's yard. I would get a phone call the next day, if not that day. So it's a catch-22. We try to run the water way down to the end into the woods. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But if you get a heavy rain right after we grade it, it goes to hell with it, right? We all know that. So we have to go back out there and do it again. I hope that we have a dry spring coming up so we can get some of these things done and they last. I think like you said, we did it last year, it was dry, and it held.
it sure did.
This spring's been horrible, so I'm hoping that we, A, get everything done and it holds, and B, that we can get more funding.
Sir,
Chris Carboni,
we're gonna have to wrap this up after this,
Okay.
gentleman.
Chris Carboni, 18 East Street, Bluefish Cove. Timing is also very important, that the roads are done and the tides are kept, looked at. We've had situations where they've come in with the bulldozer, and 2 days later, we're getting 3 flood tides in a row.
I know, I get the calls.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's gotta, to take into consideration, because it's a waste of labor, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of material,
Oh, I'll tell you what we do, we go to the worst place first.
yeah.
Right now, they're all bad, so I gotta flip the coin.
So we're gonna end this conversation, because I think we've heard pretty much everything. So we have 2 ideas. Sean's gonna talk to the budget, the money people, the select board, and the TA, and
Citizens petition.
we will
Yep.
help if,
Thank you.
you know how to get in touch with us, right? You have emails, messages,
Steve, you know where we
phone numbers,
Steve, they're all like us.
Thank you.
and
Do a
we'll,
nice job.
I'll vote yes for your petition at town meeting, so,
I would too, I would.
Well, we'll support it, I mean, we'll have that.
yeah, yeah, we'll speak
But
to
it's
it.
the last,
time.
it's the last
Yeah,
agenda item at town meeting,
right.
and no one really stays except the regulars. You put a group together, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You could,
You could definitely get
you
it
could run
passed.
the town meeting, it'll pass.
I'm Sean, they put it on the special, and the money be available right after the meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, you do the special at,
So we do a default town meeting.
Special.
fall town meeting at the special.
So you have a little bit of work to do,
And
but
then
we'll help.
it's available right then,
We
you
should
don't
have
have to
time.
wait till the next.
You do have time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, sir. You're welcome.
Will and Nick.
can I ask for a quick break, 2 minutes? Okay. We're gonna take a quick break before we on that? Okay, so I motion for a quick break.
Motion has been made, duly seconded.
Yeah.
Reconvene.
Okay, so we're on to, vote on the road acceptance policy. Do we need you, Ken, or is anybody, are you here for this, or you're just here for
Yes.
fun?
Yes.
Just here for fun, no, I know what you're here for. All right, so, do we all read this, do we all agree with it?
I read it, I'm for it. It's a start, we we've gotta get those roads approved.
Mhm.
Once you folks approve it, then we,
Yeah.
Ken, myself, and Clyde,
Yeah,
and I
that's,
can go forward.
right, I'm good with this.
Do you have any questions about it, Bob? The road acceptance policy?
I don't know.
Well, the understanding that the road acceptance policy is the same road acceptance policy of a lot of other towns. I really don't wanna to make many edits on that from the standpoint
Yep.
of being inconsistent and being a town that's not consistent with others. So having said that, I am for moving forward and support the road acceptance policy that's the same as many other towns.
This,
Right,
this one,
right, that's.
this one that we
Right.
have.
It's a blanket
Okay.
template.
I do have one question. So when somebody applies, goes through the process to apply for their road to be accepted, and Rod's gonna go out and look at everything on the road, and it says in here that, the applicant is responsible for all the fees incurred by the town, including engineering. Does that mean that they're reimbursing the town or the DPW for Rod's work or Ken's work?
Normally, these, Ron, Ken, Matt, and Charlie are swamped. So when we do this, we send our consultant up who does our road management program.
Okay,
They assess the roads, and they give us a grading on the roads. And correct me if I'm wrong with that, Ken, am I right? in saying
That's
so?
true, yes.
Yeah. And, we use that to, determine what needs to be done on the road, and who has to pay what, and, whether it should be accepted or not. So, I've always, any other towns I've worked in, we always try to marry it with subdivision policy. Because when a road is built, you build it to the subdivision policy, which means there's proper drainage, sidewalks, asphalt, the gravel that's underneath there with the subgrade, right down to the trees. So, that's a good template to use, and I think this was done off the road, the subdivision policy.
mhm,
So normally when a road is built, the subdivision policy or road policy, you want to accept it right away. Now, there are some roads that have been built recently, and I would say the last 10 to 12 years, that I think would qualify, and that's what you were talking about with the Fires Path, remember?
providers, yeah.
Yeah, those, that neighborhood, I think they qualify. But again, before we do that, we have to accept the policy, then we'll have our consultant come in and give us an analysis of the road to see what has to be done, if anything at all.
So, yeah, my question is, who pays the consultant? Does it come out of our budget, or do the applicants pay them?
It's in our budget.
It's in our budget? Because
Well,
this
the
says that
policy
they have to reimburse the town for that.
Right.
This policy, it says that. So the applicant is responsible for all fees. This was my question when we had talked about this last time,
So
incurred by the town.
We pay for a road management policy, policy. Program. You know, it comes out of chapter 9. And it's to assess all our roads, private, public, whatever.
Okay.
And we get a grading on it. I gotta look into that.
Okay.
I'll ask Al.
I mean, obviously, if it says they have to reimburse the town and we have fees associated with grading that road.
Usually that is when you do a betterment on a road, which means you're gonna do more to the road, and then all the neighborhood pays for it,
Yep,
all those fees come out of that betterment. So I just wanna find out what the language is.
okay.
But I would go forward with the policy.
Yeah, that was my only question about it. Okay, so I make a motion to accept the road acceptance policy, roadway acceptance policy and procedures.
Second.
Dave, Bob?
Is it second, all in
Yeah.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
I can hear perfect.
So you're all set, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the road acceptance policy is that if a road is totally deteriorated, the town will not accept it.
That's correct.
Right,
So if someone's living on a road that has poor drainage and potholes, we're not gonna accept the road, then take it over and spend $1 million on it.
right, and there's a whole
There's
list
the whole
of,
thing, it's all spelled out.
yeah,
That's why I'm for the policy
Yeah.
from the standpoint that it's consistent with other towns in the area and of course, that have a policy.
right, and all the steps are now
And
written down and.
What's been
yeah,
missing is we haven't had a policy.
Right,
So
So-
now we
on, the poll hearings, vote on the poll hearings, so,
I'm fine with it.
It's
do,
probably already in.
No, they're not.
No.
oh,
We'll wait on you
I
guys.
saw a
Yeah.
lot of
I mean, did,
polls being,
I don't really have any,
I'm
we just have pictures, so, was there any problem with any of them? They all,
I tell you if
no
it was.
drama? Okay, all right, okay, so I'll make a motion to, accept the poll hearings to,
the address.
I don't know, if the address is on, okay,
1140
1140
Ocean
Ocean.
Street. 1143 Ocean Street and 280 Foster Avenue.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept those polls.
Second. Discussion.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, I don't have any questions on the polls.
No,
No.
no, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Both done.
All right, so action items are done. Okay, so town meeting article, CPC rehabilitation of the ball fields? Okay,
I'll put that on the agenda.
tell us about it.
At town meeting, there was a discussion about the ball fields, which the town had voted through CPA funds,
CPC.
CPA funds.
CPA funds.
CPA funds,
Manifest
CPC,
My bad, I'm sorry.
CPC.
I'm reading it right here, that's all.
Right, it's CPC voted in favor of it, and the town agreed, and they voted for it, for 1.27 million. Of fields that were just built less than 10 years ago. And it, at the last meeting, I had said, where was the designers, errors and omissions insurance, because we probably should do a legal component and go after that design, because they didn't design it correctly. If you build a ball field, you can't have ponding out in the middle, by the shortstop and the left or right field. So they wanna put this whole network of drainage underneath the sod, and then go to a separate point. And then, when you have all this drainage, there's not gonna be as much water, so you have to water it more, that means you have to fertilize it more. And my concern is, are we gonna treat that water, because that water goes to Furnace Brook Wells. So I'm bringing it up, not as a lover of baseball, which I love baseball. Not that I'm a lover of grass, because I like grass, is where's the contamination of that, we're putting all this chemicals in, is how is it gonna be treated to get to the, we don't want it to be untreated to get to our water supply. Because it's all large grain size sand, and once it crosses Forest Street, bang, it's in our wells.
You wanna take this one? I met with the group.
Yeah,
I met with the group on Monday morning, what's today?
Thursday.
Oh, Jesus, last week.
Last Monday,
Yeah, no, last Thursday. I'm
last
sorry.
Thursday.
Last Thursday. I met with the designer, I met with the people that are project managers that are doing this project, I met with the people that are also on the ball field committee. I have to say, I was very impressed with the system they're gonna put in. First of all, let's back up a little bit. Those fields never should have been accepted in the first place. They were not done properly, and you were on the board, Bob, and I don't know if Tom brought it to your attention, but we were against accepting the fields, and they were kind of shoved down our throat by the past administrations that were in this town. Because we saw what went on, and they weren't done properly, they were never, ever gonna drain right, and it was like laying on concrete. So
I agree,
water-
and that's
the
why I
water-
said, where's the designers, errors,
water
and
was
insurance?
upon it. That, they accepted the fields, so we own it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, I met with these folks, and it was a design I'd never really seen before, and, there's a lot of filtration that's involved. There's pea stone, there's filter fabric, so the water's gonna go through a process before it gets to the catch basins. They're gonna tie into the drainage system. So, I'm not concerned, and a lot of the fertilization we use on the fields is not toxic. It's, so the kids can play on it.
My concern is that there's a lot of chemicals that go on to get a nice lawn. There's weed killers, herbicides, that kind of stuff. Another, and then those things do not, I'll repeat myself, do not get picked up by Keystone or a collection system. My concern is,
We can't
my
use
concern is our
those.
water supply, so I'm thinking that we need to address the issue, that's why I brought it up to the board. We need to address what, if we don't put it on top of it, then we don't have to treat it. The bottom line is that we have to be very careful of how we actually fertilize and treat, for anything that's on these ball fields.
Well, who plays on the ball fields?
I understand that, all I'm saying is that there's a lot of stuff that goes into Camelot.
We don't use them. We use biodegradable stuff that doesn't, it's not toxic. We can't use that stuff, but the chemicals that you're talking about on the fields the kids play on. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Good, so I'm bringing, I put it on the agenda, have a discussion.
Oh, that's
To make sure that we're aware of that, because water supply, in my mind, I don't want it in my coffee in the morning.
It's a good discussion, because people are gonna ask at some point, so I'm glad we're talking about it now.
So the way it is now, everything just runs off or sits there.
Mm.
At least it's gonna go into a system and be filtered, but again, we don't use hazardous materials in the fields. We haven't in years.
Good.
Do you think we might need a monitoring well, or is that just too far?
I think they're gonna put some in at the end around this.
They will put the,
Right.
So we could monitor it, because we wanna have some kind of
they're
century
gonna
piece.
put some wells in.
Right, so to make sure that we don't have a problem with the water supply.
Or you can monitor the bases it goes in.
As I said, I'm not against it, I'm for it. I just wanna make sure that we're doing it right,
Yeah.
because we're also the water commissioners.
Mm-hmm, yep,
Good point.
it's an important point,
So
I'm
the
glad you brought it
the
up.
second piece was the,
I have one question about that, so
Oh, that's
with the,
okay.
drainage, Sean? We're in charge of cleaning those out, those filters? Okay. So obviously there'll be a schedule for that.
So,
And that was my question.
before we go any further, our involvement with this whole thing is pretty much, I wrote it down, DPW involvement is from procurement guidance. They're handling the whole project. We're not really getting involved or supplying any help to them, except for I gotta take a test hole for them so they can see what they can cut the material. But, the only thing they're gonna ask myself and Ken for is some guidance on how to put on the central ledges. That's all they ask for. And that will be on Thursday. So it's pretty much their ball game, no pun intended. They're gonna take care of it, and,
so, yeah, good. So I agree with John, we should have some century wells, we should analyze the water,
they're amendable.
go there. So basically, we be careful how, because the children are playing for it, which is
Yep.
important. We don't wanna have herbicides or anything else on it, we wanna basically, wanna make sure it's safe. And basically what runs off there goes into a water supply, but we wanna be safe there too.
I don't care.
That's good.
That's all I have to say on that,
Very good.
I'm all
And I can bring that point up in the meeting.
Okay.
so item number 2 is.
All right, so are we done with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on to playgrounds, ensure public involvement with the design.
Right.
So I put this on because, the chair of the select board, feels very strongly that we have a public meeting, on what the plans are gonna be. So, and potentially, with the Board of Public Works and the Select Board and the public.
How many people are
So do you have any ideas on that?
I figured that.
Hello. Do any of you have any comments on that, and then we'll see if we have questions?
I got comments.
Bob?
I have comments. I got up at town meeting and spoke in favor of this,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that we need to, allow playgrounds to be used by all people. And that, I think that the design should have a public involvement component. It should be on the web, on the plans. There should be, a comment period so that people can chime in. It's public money, it's public playgrounds, the public should have a say. And that's what I think that we should put it on, have, whoever's putting the package together should put it on the website and with a time frame, and please comment on this.
Well,
And, that's what I was coming from.
there's two different, things here. I think a bunch of people here from the Tower Ave playground.
So this first thing was the town meeting,
All right, so
article for
Let me speak
the
on it.
playgrounds, yeah.
So, last year we did some inspections on the playgrounds and, you know, I'm not gonna finger point, it could be anybody, but they weren't up to snuff. So there was some concerns that were raised. I had it inspected. We did a lot of different things and we had to close them down for a while. We had to do some repairs and take some equipment out. And one of the biggest problems I found out was the surfacing of the playgrounds. I'm the one that pushed and Mike Maresco at the time also was part of this. I'm pushing for the rubberized surfacing for a number of reasons. The mulch, you may get a year out, it's like dirt roads. They only last for so long. And the mulch dissipates, goes away. You either have at least 10 inches to a foot for safety reasons. The mulch is not ADA compliant at all. You can't push a wheelchair through the mulch. You would be expected to do so. So, like I said, the mulch had to be done every year, if not twice. It's $3,000 a load. It's probably gone up in cost. Then it came to the issue of who's going to spread it. I already tapped out on manpower trying to keep up with everything else. So we did it this year just because we wanted to get it open before school. But I didn't pay everybody overtime to do it. So maintenance is one of the biggest things driving this. Besides, number one, safety for the children, 2 ADA compliancy, and the maintenance. You lump that all together and you start throwing money at it. For $750,000, if I can get most of the playgrounds, if not all of them, resurfaced, I'm gonna save money down the road in 10 years. And it lasts for a good 10 to 12 years of servicing, if you treat it properly and maintain it. So that's why I went that route. It's used already at the Library Plaza, it's used over at Governor Winslow School. Not heard any complaints about it. I haven't heard anybody getting hurt. Wheelchairs are able to get out there, which is very important. And it seems to work, so that's the route I wanted to go, with as many playgrounds in town as they can get done with that money.
Question? If I understand it, the petition is for the playgrounds, was that handicapped kids can't use the playground because of the surface. And the mulch doesn't work, so mulch is out. So basically, there should be, and I hope I got it right, there should be some kind of path that's solid for wheelchairs to do that. And it should be just rubber that's crumbled up is not that surface. There should be a mix of one versus the other. That's why some of the petitioners were really concerned about, you got the money, you're gonna do what you want, well, we're not gonna have a say. So my concern was, they should have a say, and whatever the design is, where the path is, that is hard surface, that ADA kids can use that and help versus, I don't want to spend $750,000 to find out that the ADA kids can't use it. That's where I'm concerned. So I think that we need a public.
It's the whole bottom of the
It's all
playground.
one.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
But there's pathways that go through it that need to be a hard surface.
No,
No?
no.
Okay, maybe I'd like to see well, my thing is, I don't know, so that's why I was saying, the design should be put on the web, and it should be presented from a public forum, so people can comment.
So I got all the emails from the people that were concerned about the ADA compliance, and they're right. They couldn't get out, the kids couldn't get out to the playground area with the mulch. Then we talked about moving mats. Those are like $3,200 a pop as well. And
But they shift.
They shift, they're not gonna work right. Everything sinks.
Mm.
I thought long and hard about it, actually with a couple different playgrounds, and I watched people with wheelchairs get out on the rubber surface, no problems at all. If somebody falls, it's cushy enough that it's gonna deaden the blow.
So
I mean, that's what it's meant
So-
for.
going back and forth the same conversation, is there a standard for ADA or playground, components that need to be in there? And do we have a plan to do so?
By going with rubberized material, we met the ADA requirement.
That's what we
So
should
it's
do.
over. But
And the petitions that went to the town meeting to get the money, are they okay with that?
They were not CPC.
That's all I ask.
Do you have anything?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
Hi, I'm Megan Nyland on Newby Road. My daughter, is in a wheelchair, she's 6. All of the playgrounds in Marshfield, none of them are ADA compliant, not one of them. Whether it be the flooring, or accessibility to actually get to the playground. Like Governor Winslow, beautiful playground, there's no way for a wheelchair to get from the pavement to the grass to the playground. Every single playground. Andrew Stewart has an amazing PowerPoint, where he points it all out. Everyone should be able to see that, it would be wonderful to put that on the forum.
He's going to.
Yeah, just so you know, it's not just that. And then also there's 0 play structures. My daughter's 6, we try our hardest to just veer around the playground, so it's too hard for her, not only, like I said, the mulch, but then there's nothing for her to use as
Right.
well. So we are gonna seek more funding, we have to seek.
You have, this is
Yeah.
just to get the surfacing done.
Yeah, and when is it gonna happen? Are we gonna keep putting this off because like,
We just got it approved
okay.
at the town meeting.
But then there's also the talk about that people are concerned about the toxicity of the clay, which I know that there's studies that do say it is, and a lot of studies that say it's not toxic.
I looked at the ones that said it's not.
Yeah, me too. Because my daughter does not have a place to play, and she is one of several,
Well, that was one of the
probably
biggest
dozens
concerns.
in our area, yeah.
That was one of the biggest concerns because we all know the mulch isn't gonna work
No,
at all.
it's dangerous for elderly, it's dangerous for anyone, and there's more grandparents that are caregivers these days than there used to be.
Yeah.
It's just dangerous for a lot of people.
I'm with you, I'm a grandparent.
Yeah, that's what our parents are.
yes.
Hello, I'm calling Couples, 26 Priscilla Road. The same conversation basically is, we spend the money to do the flooring, then they still can't access, structures. Can we at least maybe try to get some new structures with extra flooring? I know the front playground at DWS in particular is, the kids are playing on it, the sign's still up that says they shouldn't. But anyways, maybe adding some structures, like I've reached out to playground, structure equipment, and like, people are happy to donate if we can get the right people. And like I said, we're gonna put together like a corporate committee if we need to and try to do it right, but
So
I also
this
don't wanna
is,
push off a project.
this is the whole premises about Diane, what Diane said, getting the public involved.
Yeah.
I'm only one person. I had to start somewhere. I wanted to start with the surfacing.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
I was lucky to get the money we got. It took a little bit of a battle, but we got it, because I feel it's needed. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, it was neglected for years. Nobody checked on the playgrounds. There was a lot of private entities that were involved, so we gotta be careful how we do that. The funding was put in place, but no maintenance was ever put in place, no funding for maintenance. And, I think it caught everybody by surprise. There was nobody that was really in charge of overseeing the playgrounds. They kind of thrown that my way. Which is why I wanna make sure we do it so we can maintain it properly without spending millions of dollars again to do it. But I talked to Diane, and, we wanted to get the public involved because like, we're only 2 people. There's more power and more voices that are heard.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Couples, question. So, we're gonna, get with the select board and set a time for like a community meeting on this. But can you bring the information or send the information about the companies that are willing to donate? Can you send that to me or Sean?
Thank you.
Okay, my email address is on the site.
Do you know how quickly it can get that meeting?
I don't know. We have it on for a discussion item tonight, so we'll reach out to the select board.
Like,
I mean,
sure that everything's just gonna be.
yeah, so, but the funding came through for the surface, so, anyway, that's done. So then the next piece after that is done would be to get funding for some equipment, but it'd be helpful for people that have kids that use wheelchairs to, you know,
Oh, well,
have some input on that, and if you know companies that are willing to donate, that would be great.
Yes.
So all of this will be discussed like when we have a meeting. Yes,
My name is Marcy Strader Concanon, 57 Pudding Hill Lane. In 2017, I led and helped design the new playground at Martinson Elementary School. I know I worked with Sean. Sean was there for a little bit afterwards. Long story short, so I did a lot of investigation, different equipment companies to use, different installers. I was able to look at what Governor Winslow had done. They just dug theirs in rubber. I was looking at that option. We decided to go with a company called Compan for the playground equipment. I ended up getting in contact with the West Tisbury principal out of Martha's Vineyard, and they just installed a large Compan playground, fully poured-in-place rubber, just 1 year prior. So I got to talk to them. Interestingly, and I remember this really well, the principal had said she was happy with the playground equipment. She was really regretful that she had put in poured-in-place rubber. It was right next to the major watershed. It was already having issues of peeling. It was extremely hot. And really interestingly, she said that kids had this false sense of safety. So right from the get-go, there were actually 4 injuries, and she was surprised at that. So from there, and I looked at the poured-in-place option again. I looked at Governor Winslow, what they had done, and ran out the cost of the differences, looked at what was going to be the most safe, accessible surfacing, and we chose engineered wood fiber from a good company in Connecticut, I believe. 100% non-toxic. I realize, and it is ADA compliant. Of course, it does not help for people with wheelchairs. It is ADA compliant.
so
I
that's
know
not
it's not
ADA
good.
compliant.
That makes it not ADA
I mean,
compliant.
really,
So how does that
Yeah.
make it ADA
No, it's
compliant if my daughter
legally-
can't use it?
I agree with you.
Sorry,
And so
Martha.
after it was installed and we did wood chips, and later Martinson went and they did some rubber mats, but I will tell you, when we installed that playground, and I put a lot of thought into the equipment, the design. My son has a disability issue. Disabilities come in a lot of different forms. My son has a neurological disorder such that he could space out and fall down. It had the best paneling so you could hold on to the panels, the equipment did. So I put a lot of thought into what happened there. One thing I'll say is that, fast forward, just last year, and I talked to the West Tisbury principal recently, because I looked this up. They received $85,000 in CPC funds to remove their poured-in-place rubber and install wood chips. They just did that just last year, due to the toxicity, due to the overheating. This is not a unique concern. I'm thrilled that DPW got these funds. I'm thrilled that this is happening. Since we installed the Martinson playground, I was a big proponent of getting more accessible equipment. I totally think that's the thing to do. And accessible surfacing, and I think there's a lot of options to do there. I think one thing that's not being referenced, same at town meeting, was everybody referred to the Andrew Stewart report, but there's also the Jody Reel report, which detailed a lot of issues with equipment being broken. I read those both those reports very, very well. I've gone to all of these playgrounds. I went to South River and Martinson yesterday. South River has a lot of issues. We have 4 playgrounds in town with poured-in-place rubber, all of which are failing. One interesting thing between those 2 reports, the Stewart report would say the library plaza playground was built to be 100% accessible. That is true. However, most parents recognize the design, you can't see through it, there's other issues. And then the Jody Reed report says, look, this is 15 years old, this surfacing is failing, it's at the end of its life. So you gotta take both these reports. The Jody Reed report details a lot of broken things. If you install poured-in-place rubber this summer, which is extremely expensive, around equipment that needs a lot of repairs, there's a piece and they were detailed since last summer and they've not been fixed. I was at Martinson yesterday, there's a piece there. It's a phone call to the company. That's, I know what this takes. When we put that playground in at Martinson in 2017, talking to Sean and Tom at the time, and I was told to build a playground that was maintenance free. And I understand what they're saying, they just didn't have the budget to maintain it. So then, so I thought, you build this playground as well as you can, so you don't need to call DPW. every year for the next 3 or 4 years my kids were there, end of August, myself, sometimes another volunteer, would go out and I rake the wood chips. I get Danny sometimes next door, rake the wood chips, and I would observe week after week how well they stayed in place. I know not for accessibility, but at least for safety. Those wood chips actually stayed, and I appreciate new wood chips came in last summer. I observed that day that those went in. I was out there yesterday. Those wood chips have not moved that much. The way that playground was designed, they do not escape the playground. There's a very affordable $1,000, $2,000 rubber barrier we put in there that captures them. The wood chips underneath that dome are just probably at the safe height. So I went back and reviewed.
You have to
Yeah.
finish so that other
I
people
just
can
went
ask
back and
questions,
reviewed
please.
the town meeting discussion on this, and Andrew Stewart has said, after some discussion back and forth, and he had said, we need accessible routes, definitely. We need accessible routes, and he said, the bulk of, for safety reason, could be in wood chips. So I think there's a lot of different design options.
So
I would like to be a part of
We're
that
gonna have to ask
discussion.
you to stop, there are other people that have questions, but we're not deciding this
Yeah.
tonight. So all of those ideas and, opinions and concerns would be discussed at a community meeting. That's why we wanna have one with the
I'm
select
happy to be
board,
a part of that.
because there are lots of different opinions. Does anybody else who hasn't spoken have a question about this particular issue? Yes?
Jim Kennedy, 16 Gates Road. I think in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of upgrades in the rubber. Obviously, I think a lot of the concern comes from the recycled rubber. There are products that use, they call it virgin rubber. There's also products that don't use rubber at all. There's a million different options that we can use, and I think, yeah, discussion's good, but these kids have been sitting on the sidelines for way too long. It's embarrassing. It really is. Like, we cheered that we got to up to standard. Like, it's embarrassing. We need to get these kids back on the playground. It's really is embarrassing. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. McGuire?
Brian, you guys are Tower Ave. So I have numerous concerns as far as Tower Ave is concerned.
We're not at that one yet?
Yeah, but the actual structure is gonna fall on a family or
So,
a child.
so we're gonna
So I'm
go,
actually
we're
just
going to
trying
that
to-
one next.
It's a concern that's gonna happen maybe like tomorrow. So I was wondering how I could go about and, talking to Sean, I've talked to him numerous times about these things. I've sent him pictures on the
Mr.
side.
McGuire, we're not on that item yet.
No, but I'm just asking what the
Well,
proper
we
way.
can't discuss it, we're not on that
No,
item
but
yet.
what the proper way is to have a
Right.
conversation.
We're not on that item
Well,
yet.
Right, but what I'm saying, as far as the rubber is concerned, is how, I'm getting to the question, I'm getting to my other question. So, as far as the rubber is concerned, is that gonna be, why? Why?
Why?
All I'm asking is, in the $750,000 that was approved at town meeting, is Tower Ave included in that, or is it just for the schools?
Yes.
$750,000 is gonna do 11 parks in town.
I'll do as many as I can, I'm gonna prioritize.
Right, so that's my point, so I'm just asking a question, are we included in that? That's all.
And what Diane said,
And that's a fair question to ask.
well, that's fine, I know. When you get to the next one, that's specifically Tower Ave.
Right.
It's a separate pool of money.
Okay.
So this agenda item, this discussion,
But it's also
Was-
a park in town, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Mr. McGuire, please,
Thank
this
you.
agenda item, this discussion was so that I could bring up that we're planning to have a community meeting with the select board and invite residents to come. Because obviously there's lots of different opinions and concerns. So I'm gonna reach out and try and get that scheduled right away, as soon as possible. Did somebody else have a question? Yes?
I did. I'm Dylan White. I live at 505 South River Street. I just had some concerns about the surface material, as we all agree that updates need to happen to the playgrounds to make things ADA compliant. But I appreciate that you guys want to have some design component with the committee, because I do think there are other options that would meet ADA standards that aren't the PIP, because there's so many, to the port in place rubber. There's concerns of off-gassing with kids. They're 3 and 4 feet tall. This material is made of rubber from tires. especially when it's hotter days. Like, I understand the accessibility data is probably the easiest and best for wheelchair use on surfaces, the easiest thing, but there are other options. UMass Lowell did a study on it, I think in a couple years ago, 2019, so we're meeting this earlier. 2023. And there are so many options that aren't the PIP, and there are so many concerns about possible runoff contamination of PIP, which all of our playgrounds, Daniel Webster, and any of them, South River, we're all on like watershed. So I think that I think we almost need the conservation committee if we're gonna do things with rubber and old tires to make sure that it's not gonna leach into the soil and get into the watershed that way and get chemicals in the water. So I appreciate that we're gonna maybe slow it down and not rush into we're doing this like tomorrow with the port-in-place rubber, even though I understand that, Sean, you might have done some research with it, but I think that possibly slowing down and really making sure that this is the best option, non-toxic as well.
Thank you. One more question.
I just have,
and then
what
we're
is the
moving on.
football field made out of?
I can't.
What is the football field made out of?
I don't know exactly what it's made out of.
There is rubber under the grass.
There is rubber.
To answer your question, it's black rubber and it's the exact same stuff.
Recycled, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the same stuff.
Okay, so, hopefully we'll be hearing about a meeting very soon. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next item very quickly.
Oh, yeah. I was just trying to educate Marcy on what she said earlier.
I'm not gonna listen to another long discussion.
It's not one
Move on to the
discussion,
next
it's that
item.
it's, her choice in choosing wood chips at Martinston, actually is against ADA compliance, and she, yeah, it's something.
Okay, so we're gonna end this
Just so we know
discussion.
that,
I
Marcy,
understand, I understand that it's not what
Back and forth all night with this.
what we're looking for when they put this on town meeting. Okay, so, we're on, meeting dates schedule. So I put this on because I want to be able to work more effectively with the select board. And our meetings have been on the same Mondays as them, so I want to, have Amy look at their schedule, their, official schedule, and put us on the opposite Monday of that, so that we can at least, be able to have the option, hopefully, of attending or watching their meetings on Zoom. And if residents have to choose between the select board or the DPW meeting, they won't have to choose also.
Thank you.
That's a great idea.
So, I don't think, we didn't put it on, it's not on as a vote, but what do you guys think about that? You don't have a problem with that, right?
No
Okay.
problem. I think it's a great idea.
Bob, like that idea?
Whatever works for the town, I mean.
I think it's gonna
we
make
wanna
things more
sure
efficient.
We have more, I want people need to participate.
Right.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay, we're off the playground. Okay. Okay, so now we're on to Tower Ave Committee. So we put this on because we wanted to, have a couple of residents on the committee. I'm gonna be on it, Sean, and, who else? Craig, okay. So, do we have people that have expressed interest?
So, my email address is on the website, and I leave a few cards here. Anybody interested that's in this room in joining the committee?
For
Kathy, I already have you.
the Tower Ave? Brian?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. Trying to participate.
Right, so I was hoping that people could send in what their availability would be typically for meetings. We want committee members who can be at the meeting, so, can you email Sean with,
Yeah.
you know, are you available on Saturdays, weekend, or, Sundays in the evening, or what? Well, it would have to be probably a weeknight, right, for you? So, we have 2 people here in the room that are interested, so could you guys, email in what your times are that you're available to have meetings?
Sure, we're actually neighbors, so I could just walk over and
Can
have
you
a
email
conversation
it?
with her about the.
Oh, yeah, oh, you mean you and, okay. I thought you, I'm like, how are you doing?
So we
Yeah, I
want-
already, Sean,
Yeah, I already have that.
emailed Sean and basically whatever is most convenient for, okay. All right, and then
Kathy, Brian, and we need one more,
we
right?
need one more resident, so, okay. Well, we'll, I can definitely get, ask around. I think it would be helpful to have somebody, you know, that borders the park or in that neighborhood. I know a lot of people were here before about that agenda item when we had it on.
So if one of you could
doesn't
reach
seem
out
to
to a
be-
neighbor. and
Yeah,
we might-
I'm on
get
Tower
somebody.
Ave, I could do it too.
Okay, what's your name?
Tia, TIA.
Did you come for this item? Oh, so you are interested in it?
She's actually
Okay.
my girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Here, the board.
What's your last name?
Defina, DEFINA.
Good. There, we'll
All right.
figure it out.
There's our three.
Okay, so we'll discuss the Tower Ave playground at those meetings, okay?
Appreciate it.
Okay,
So
so,
you have my number, Brian. I can text me your email address and Tia's. I already have yours, Kathy. And then we'll exchange emails, we'll set the first meeting,
Sounds good.
all right?
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
can't be on a Monday. Because we're here, or at the select board. Okay, so we're on to, minutes.
Okay.
The minutes are under number 7. Thank you.
Thursday?
April seventh,
Okay, yeah, the April
April
7th
7th meeting.
minutes, yep. Okay, so,
Thank you,
does anybody have any questions about these? I can make a motion to accept the minutes.
I did read them online.
Okay, yep,
okay.
okay. Yep, make a motion to accept the minutes. Need a second?
Aye.
Second?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Aye. All right, Sean,
That's me.
that's you.
Superintendent.
I was out last week, due to a loss in my family. So, I'm trying to get back up to speed myself, but I know we're working on getting the gravel roads done. Trying to get Edwards in here to give us some, time frames on getting some roads paved. We got a couple water main breaks we're gonna repair. And, we're getting ready for Memorial Day, so cemetery trees and trees is hard at it. And, we're also trying to get as many potholes as we can, that's pretty much all I have.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Yep.
On the consultants for the improvement for the beach properties,
Yep.
relations, are they still working on it?
Yep.
Okay.
Time one,
Time one.
doing two things for us.
Okay.
Oh, I have that question too, thank you. So they're still at it, okay.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of those. Okay, you're fine.
Okay, so that's it.
Okay.
Bob? Anything?
Done.
Okay, make a motion to close meeting,
Sure.
adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.